Good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Recoil TV, Rumble, Spotify, find me there. I'll be waiting for you patiently. Now, I'm just coming from the hardware store, or as my son calls it, the hardwood store, because I had to have some paint shake it up because my wife wants the dining room painted. The honeydew list, never ending. We were on a hike the other day and she said, you know what? We should make a list of projects to do. I was like, huh? You take that W and flip it upside down is how it usually ends. But we'll see. I'll give her another chance to prove me wrong. But the topic that I want to talk about is fucking horrible, and it shouldn't be seen on American soil. We're better than that. We should be. I use this analogy a lot because it works. It really paints my picture. So if you walk into a bathroom, a public bathroom, and you see somebody's legs in a stall at the bottom, you see their pants scrunched up, talking for the fellas, because ladies, it could be number one or number two for you. But in a men's bathroom, that means only one thing: somebody's in there taking a shit. Now, if you see somebody's in there taking a shit, you're not appalled. You're not flabbergasted. I mean, it's going to stink. And if he's, farting and shit, it's going to be kind of funny. But, that's par for the course. That's life in a public restroom. But if that same man walked 20 feet out the door and took a shit in the middle of the floor of the store or the airport or whatever you're in, now it's a public issue. The police are involved. He's going to get arrested. People are disgusted, covering their children's eyes. Same action, different location. Location. So the images that I'm going to be talking about are something you would see in a third world, war-torn country. Somewhere where landmines from previous wars is still a safety issue. All right, the countries that they send the t-shirts of the team that didn't win the Super Bowl or the World Series or the Stanley Cup. They got to send those t-shirts somewhere. They made them. You expect to see that somewhere else. You do not expect to see this kind of stuff inside the borders of the continental United States. But the other day, and you heard nothing about it because the colors do not match up. Okay? They get their give a shit color chart, and if the color of the perpetrator does not match correctly with the color of the victim, you will hear nothing about it. I promise you. You won't even hear crickets. Nothing. So in this case, the perpetrator and victim colors did not match up. They're always going for the white perpetrator, suspect, or a victim of color, the VOC. Doesn't matter. As long as it's not another white person, we got something. And the darker the person, the better. Okay? The darker the victim, as long as the perpetrator, the suspect, the shooter, or whatever is white, shit, let's go. So the other day in, I believe, Atlanta, there was this 51-year-old black man who was going somewhere to get something to eat or something. He was getting out of his vehicle and he was walking. As he's walking, you see an older man, because when he walks past the camera, you see he has a white beard, may or may not be homeless. You see an older man sitting on the sidewalk, on the curb. Then you see a young man dressed in all black walking up behind the 51-year-old man who ended up being a security guard. So he might have even been showing up to work to guard stuff and keep it safe. Because you shouldn't need guards in a neighborhood, but in some neighborhoods you do. So this man is coming to do his job. And this little son of a bitch, this little savage, this little barbarian comes up behind him and shoots him in the back of the head. Now, fortunately, I couldn't find any unedited footage because I really didn't want to see that shit. We've all become desensitized to a certain extent with the internet. There's violent images, all the terrible worst shit, the knockout videos and all this shit, traffic deaths, whatever you want to see, it's there. We've all seen it. And I really didn't want to see that. And if you were around in the 90s, you remember watching Faces of Death. Remember those videos? It was basically videotapes of people dying from security footage or whatever. It was people getting shot, ran over, all kinds of stuff. I remember this guy was at a press conference and he has this big manila envelope and he pulls out a big revolver. Could have been a 357 or something, or a 44. And he puts it under his chin and you hear everybody say, "No, no, no." And he just, boom, kills himself right there on TV. Stuff like that. So it goes back, but back then you had to get a hold of the tape. Oh, hey, do you know anybody has a Faces of Death tape? Yeah, you can go rent the Faces of Death tape. Like, you had to go find the tape. Now, shit, probably millions of videos of scenes of violence and death. So I didn't want to see that. And I'll put a link in the description box if you haven't seen the video. But the act itself was terrible. He just walked up behind this man and shot him in the back of the head for nothing. The man didn't wrong him. He didn't beat up his sister or his mom. He didn't do something to his child. He just had something that this little fucker wanted. His money. So after he shoots this man, after he blows this man's brains out and his dead body is laying on the sidewalk, he rummages through his pockets. That's some shit you see like in Sao Paulo, Brazil, or fucking Port-au-Prince. Not Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States of America. But you tell me I'm supposed to be watching out for white cops and shit, and white supremacists, Ku Klux Klan members. Walks up behind him, same color. If you held their arms up next to each other, you couldn't tell who was who. Same color. Walks up behind him for no reason and shoots him in the back of his fucking head. He falls to the ground. You see him go through the man's pocket. I don't know if he took his wallet, his cell phone, whatever. He walks off. Walks off. Doesn't run. He doesn't have the thought of, oh shit, I just did something illegal. I better get out of here. He didn't do his best impression of a track star. He walked. Dropped something out of his hand, dropped it on the ground, stopped, picked it up, and kept walking. Then the old man who was sitting on the curb, he gets up and walks past the body and just shakes his head like, And some people are saying, oh, the old man, why did he do that? What was he supposed to do? Hey, man, watch out. Then what do you think that fucker would have done to him? And the guy was dead. He was gone. He couldn't have rendered any medical aid to this poor man. So then, that's only part A. Part B, seconds after, these three candidates for the wood chipper come walking up. They must have heard the gunshot. Who walks toward where the gunshots come from? I thought only cops did that. But here they come. Three zombies come around the corner. And one of them goes up, or two of them. One of them was a woman. She's hanging back, a few feet back, holding some shit. And the two men, same color as the victim. What did the guy say in Menace to Society when Kane was jacking him in the drive-thru? Man, we supposed to be brothers. Right? We got to look out for the white man, the white people. White, wiggity, white. That's what they tell us. So far in this story, the man who killed him was the same color as him. And then these two sons of bitches who come up and go through his pockets again. Yes. This man's laid out dead, I'm sure. A huge pool of blood where his head used to be. And they're going through his pockets and they take something out of his pockets and walk away. Now, if a police SUV would have come around the corner, went up on the curb and ran over all three of them, I wouldn't be mad. And they caught the little bastard who shot him. What do you think he looked like? He was a white supremacist. He had swastikas tattooed all over his face. He had white power across his neck. And even in his mugshot, he was doing the little Sig Heil. All that shit. Skinhead. And you go to his social media, is man, I hate black people and nigger this and coon that. It was exactly who they thought it would be. Psych. No, it wasn't. That's who they wished it was. That's who they think our country is crawling with. No. It was a little young motherfucker who looked just like him, who smoked him and took his life for whatever was in his pockets. You don't expect to see shit like that in America. There's no regard for human life. The fool who pulled the trigger and those 3 piles of human shit that came up and went through his pockets. No regard, thought nothing. He walked away slowly, people. He strolled away from a murder. He had no reason to shoot that man. Strolled away slowly. No worry of cops coming. No concern for did somebody see my face? Nothing. Just another day in the life of a piece of shit. All 4 of them candidates for the wood chipper. If somebody were to tie him to a post during low tide, I would not be mad at that, because eventually it's going to be high tide. I was just sickened by that. Like, what the fuck, man? Savages. Not even all the way human. You can't be. You're missing a part of your brain, or something happened to you. And you know the life this dude probably came from. He's surrounded by death and violence. That's why he has no regard for human life. Robotic. Shot this man for whatever was in his pockets. Gone. The fuck is BLM? They be busy. I'd love if BLM was really serious about the lies and poison that come out of their mouth. I would love to see their frequent flyer miles, because they would be zipping back and forth across the United States, going from case to case, situation to situation. They couldn't handle it. They'd be too damn busy. Just the dead kids alone who get shot. Just the children. They be slammed. You know what? They'd be better served just putting up little substations, because you know where this shit happens. Find a major city, it's probably run by Democrats and it's full of violence. So just put in little substations. You know where it's going to happen. Keep those picket signs warm. You're going to need them again soon. Nothing. You don't hear shit from them. They don't release no statements. They don't do a press conference because they're not serious. CBLM, certain Black Lives Matter. They're not even MBLM. Most Black Lives Matter. Not even most. Just certain ones that serve their purpose. You can be as black as you want to be. If you didn't get killed by the right person, they don't have nothing for you. Nothing. I'm fresh out. But just, the savagery, how else can you, I don't even want to call them animals, because animals don't do that shit. I don't want to insult animals. Animals are innocent. They don't have the brains that we have. That shit blew me away. If you haven't seen it, I'll put it in the description box. You can check that shit out. It'll break your heart to know that you live in a country with people like that and they ain't gonna do shit. These district attorneys, in these Democrat-run shitholes. I wish Trump would have said, these cities are shitholes. Because they're just like third world countries. The callousness. No regard for human life, whether child or otherwise. Innocent. This dude was going to work. What's more innocent than whistling Dixie while you go to clock in for work? Not today, sir. Unfortunately, this little son of a bitch has decided what to do with your life. And then they come up and go through his pockets after he's dead. Is there no honor? I don't got shit else to say about that. See it yourself. Don't watch it on a full stomach and don't watch it while you're eating. And make sure your hands are clean because you're going to go like this when you see it. If you haven't already. Man. Makes me want to go hold my family a little bit tighter. Why do you care? It's not your, mind your business. That's what that guy was trying to do. Mind his fucking business and go to work and pay these high ass taxes. Why do you need a gun? Why do you need to carry a gun? Why do you need 100 rounds? What do you think these little bastards are running around with? 6 shooters? They got drums, double drums, extended mags, but you want me to explain why I need something with 100 rounds? I'm not even allowed to have something that has 100 rounds in a magazine. I live in California. That's why we need to carry. That's why we need to protect ourselves. You know why? Because the cops didn't show up until after that dude was dead. Man. Maybe if somebody nearby in Georgia, I don't know if they're a constitutional carry state. I'm sure you got a better chance at that than I do in California. But maybe somebody would have been there, would have shot that little fucker before he walked away. You'd have plenty of time to take a clear shot because he was in no hurry. Demons like that lurking through our communities is why we need to carry, is why we need 100 rounds. Is why I shouldn't have to ask you shit or jump through any hoops to put a pistol on my hip. Because you know who does not pay attention to or give a shit about your ridiculous gun laws? This little bastard here who shot that man in the back of his head. He doesn't care. And people of his ilk. Man, you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please, subscribe. Hit that notification bell because every time it rings, a piece of shit lefty cries. Utilize the Linktree link. Get your ass over to JerichoGreen.net. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.